guys saw when you got the scene, where the officers were, where the lady was, and then what you did to immediately follow them.
I'm Louis Pantoja. I was on Quint 23. When we arrived, the female that they pulled out was already in the yard. We immediately went in. We heard someone was still trapped in the house. So we went in, did a quick search, and when we went inside, I can hear some noise going on to the left, so I went to my left, and I found a male laying on the floor next to a couch. So me and our crew, engine crew, we grabbed him up and pulled him outside, pulled him to the yard next to a female that was in the yard.
You say you heard it, I'm guessing visibility was there.
Yeah.
What was it like inside?
It was, well, it was just dark and hot. Couldn't see nothing. That's about it. Just pulled him out to the yard, started patient care.
So you heard the noise, was he conscious? Was he calling for you?
No, he wasn't conscious. You can just hear him coughing, gurgling. I'm just trying to pull him out. Just looking for him. That's about it.
What do you think about the police officers who went in without the protection that you guys were?
Good job. Real good job.
Are there any other questions for any of the fire personnel?
I guess maybe a question for one of the commanders or someone. I mean, what would you think about this team effort? And again, particularly the officers who go in without any kind of training in this or the equipment. I mean, I heard someone say a heroic effort. Is that how you describe it?
I think it speaks to the nature of the individuals that are involved in these careers. Whether fire, police, MedStar are used to going into scenes that are oftentimes untenable. We never know what we're going to run into. There's always going to be something that you don't expect. And I think the individuals that came to this scene, including fire and police, all the personnel, were ready to respond and react to whatever situation they found. So PD is to be highly commended for responding in such a way that they were concerned about the lady's safety. They acted immediately without concern for their own safety. It is a highly dangerous situation. Structure filled with smoke is a death trap. So the fact that they took action and quickly were able to rescue the female is, as I said earlier, took a tremendous amount of courage on the part of these police officers.
Would you call them heroes?
Yes, but I would call them heroes whether they had done this or not, because they face situations every day that are very difficult and very dangerous. I think they did an excellent job for the citizens of Fort Worth, both the fire personnel and the police personnel, to protect our citizens, and that's why we're here, is to protect the citizens of Fort Worth.
Can we see if we can get Chief Halstead? Do you mind talking about your officers and also about the interagency cooperation? These two groups act on their training and seem to go hand in hand. Comment on that.
Yeah, it was really early this morning. We get the overnight alerts, and when I was reading through it, this is the first time I actually read the overnight report where I knew the officers individually. I know both of the officers. I've met with both the officers. In fact, Lindsay was the Rookie of the Year last year and received a very prestigious award. And her mother is a captain with our police department. And I remember when Lindsay was in the academy, her mom was really worried about her, going through a lot of defensive drills. And then I'm thinking last night, it's an amazing profession that you're called to. And you can't be more proud to lead an organization where you have leadership at every level. And then you have our professional partnerships. We know that if anything were to ever happen to us, fire would do anything to get there and assist us, and vice versa. We know that we're in this different professions, but we're a common bond in public safety. Other questions?
I can tell you that maybe refer to Mr. Zavadsky with MedStar. Maybe he can answer some of your questions as far as the status on the individuals that were taken out of the house.
Thank you, Sergeant. On behalf of the MedStar personnel that responded and certainly our leadership, congratulations to the heroes, and I'll say it, Officer Bell and Officer Stewart and the fire crews that were there. Their interventions in that scene for those patients truly made a difference in those patients' outcome. MedStar did respond 3 advanced life support ambulances, an advanced practice paramedic, and a supervisor to this call. First arriving unit with a 3-minute and 7-second response time. 2 of the patients were extremely critical. They required significant intervention with their airway. The fire personnel, the police personnel that were there first, again, dramatically impacted our ability to help those patients. The first patient, the female, was airlifted to Parkland. Her status is still undetermined at this time. We do speak with Parkland on a regular basis, and we'll try and provide updates for you. The male patient that went to Harris also had significant, potentially life-threatening injuries. The crews then stayed on scene to transport the 3rd patient and also provide medical assistance to Officer Stewart and Bell on scene and back up the firefighters that were there. So we're available to offer any questions if you have any as well from MedStar.
Matt, how many personnel do you have?
We had a total of 9 personnel on the scene. Several people on the ambulance, the advanced practice paramedic, which brings some additional airway management skills and a lot of advanced procedures, and the supervisor.
Give us word on the conditions of the victims. You kind of touched upon this, but I understand at least one's in Parkland.
Yeah, the female victim who's at Parkland does have life-threatening injuries. Burn injuries can be very catastrophic, and oftentimes the latent effects of those burn injuries won't happen for a couple of days, but we'll keep track of that patient and try and provide updates for you folks as well as the patient at Harris. The 3rd patient that we transported was non-life-threatening injuries. We don't have an update on her. The male that went to Harris also had life-threatening injuries, and we'll keep you updated on their status.
Steve, I understand Officer Stewart's mom is here, and we're just wondering if we might be able to bring word with her. Okay. You sure
You're
tell me
welcome.
a lot.
What do you think of your daughter?
Well, I tell you what, the chief is right. When she was going through training, because I've developed a pretty good relationship with this new chief, and I was concerned about the defensive tactics because, of course, she came home bruised up. And I'm like, oh, he's beating up on her. But when I got the call this morning at 4:45, I'm a little nervous. And it was Lindsay. I thought, something's happened. She's going to the hospital. And sure enough, she was on her way to Harris. And I said, what'd you do this time to get in trouble? And she said, Mom, me and Carson Bell pulled a female out of a burning building. And I said, oh my gosh. I said, I am so proud of you. All the training, all the griping from Mom, you need to get to the academy on time. I said, you've done a great job, Lindsay. I'm very proud of you. And I know our chief is proud of you. And I'll come see you at the hospital. And then they transported, or she drove herself there with Carson, and they gave her oxygen. She calls me back. She goes, don't show up at the hospital. I'm fine. I'm going to be just fine, Mom. So she shows up at 3:50 and comes in there, and of course we're both crying. And I gave her a big hug. I said, you're going to be fine. You're going to be great. So. I am worried sick every night. Well, I'm worried sick every night because she works midnights. But you know what? I have to trust in her training. I have to trust our department. I have to trust other officers. I have to trust citizens that she's going to be okay and she's going to come home every night.
Well, what she did, she said really isn't part of the training.
That's true. I don't remember that part of my training either.
It's improvised.
Yes, it's improvised.
Yeah.
But as police officers and firefighters, you don't think about that when you're out there helping your citizens. I know when Lindsay and Carson kicked that door in, they weren't thinking about themselves. They were thinking about, what if this was one of my family members? What if this was someone that was close to me? It didn't matter to them that it was a citizen that they didn't know. What mattered was going in there and saving her life.
Would you call them heroes?
I would call them heroes, but I would also call PD heroes too. I happen to have 2 son-in-laws that are firefighters, so we have a firefighter and police officer family.